And for the weekend at 9th January 2023, it's all green on the activity summary of the AFEX Commodity Exchange. Join me now is Omotola Akongbe, market data and research analyst at AFEX. Join us from Abuja studio. Great to have you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Omotola. So let's have the review of the week.
So like you said, it was actually a green week for our major indicators. We saw an increase of 22% in our turnover. It increased from 2.16 billion naira to close the week at 2.63 billion naira. We also saw an increase of about 41% in volumes of contract traded, increasing from 3.7 million contracts to 5.2 million contracts. We also saw an increase of about 13% number of deals traded, increasing from 280 deals to close the week at 316 deals. The AFEX Commodity Index saw an increase of 2.73% to close the week at 475.81 index points. We saw a marginal increase of 0.51% in the AFEX Export Index to close the week at about 240 index points. Across our volumes traded, we only saw an increase week on week in the volumes of maize, soybean, and cocoa traded. For our price, we saw an increase in the price of maize by 2.55% to close the week at 218.73 naira. We also saw an increase of 3.29%, with soybean gaining about 10 naira to close the week at 315 naira. Also, cashew saw a marginal increase of about 1.33%, gaining 6.16 naira to close the week at 468.79 naira. Cocoa also gained about 106 naira, gaining 5.9% to close the week at 1,899.99 naira. We, however, saw a decline of 2.45% in sorghum to close the week at 291.32 naira. Paddy rice also saw a decline of 3%, losing about 9 naira to close the week at 310.56%. Other commodities remained flat on the exchange. For more information about our commodities or about AFEX, you can visit our website at africaexchange.com. And to trade commodities, you can download ComX on Play Store or Apple Store.
All right, thank you so much, Omotola Akongbe, market data and research analyst at AFEX, for that update. All right, taking the conversation further now, in Nigeria, agricultural value chains involve a variety of actors and activities that contribute to bringing a basic agricultural product from production in the field to final consumption. Let's gauge the penetration rate of technology into rural areas and amongst the smallholder farmers. Let's talk to Yusuf Oguntola now, Chief Technology Officer, AFEX. Join us right there from Abuja studio. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me. It's nice being here again.
Great. So Nigeria and the world at large are, rapidly adapting to the digitalization of various sectors. What does the acceptance of, technology, mean for the sector here? And what kind of technology can we really get, at this time?
So I think everybody within this space already would allude to the fact that we've gone past the stage where we are talking about acceptance of technology in the agricultural space, right? Every major stakeholders within this ecosystem understand that to get from the point where we've been and then move on and become viable in the world, we definitely need technology to come into play. The only mistake I see a lot of people now making is that when we hear technology, we seem to immediately want to think it is hardware. You're talking drones, you're talking mechanized farming, you're talking machines and all of that. Some other people think when you say technology, it is softwares, right? You're building web applications, you're building mobile applications. However, technology is all-encompassing. It has to do with all of this. You have to think from how is the farmer getting input, what category of inputs, and how optimized is the kind of seedlings they're using, even on their farm. So when you have improved seedlings, as an example, you automatically improve the yield that you get at the end of the day. So you are talking of better farm practices, you're talking of better aggregation, which automatically reduce the post-harvest losses that farmers would see if they were using the normal domestic practices that has always been in place, right? This also goes into how are we transporting it to the warehouses, what is our storage technology like, what percentage. Today we are able to store less than 10% of what we produce, right? Technology would help in doing all of this. We are also talking about getting all of these things to market. So it means we need to infuse technology into every bit and part of the value chain in the agricultural sector.
All right. If we're looking to actually bridge, this gap, how do the smallholder farmers, how do you see that they get these technologies?
So the smallholder farmers need to be placed at the middle of all of this conversation, right? They've always been left out of the conversation, which is why we've had a lot of summits, we've had a lot of sit-together panels, and we've not seen as much effect in our food production. So one of the things that needs to be done greatly is farmer education. How are we educating our farmers? When you talk about food sustainability, right? Sustainability has actually 3 levels, right? You have the people, which is the farmers that are going to be planting the food we're talking about. You have the planet, how environmental sustainable is what you are producing. You have the profit end of it. The farmers needs to make money from what they are producing. Everybody within the value chain also wants to make money, right? That is why everybody is coming to agriculture. So how are we able to do this efficiently? Farmers need to produce. And if the farmers are not incentivized enough to be able to produce, then we are already lost out of the game, right? Now, we say that for you to be sustainable, you have to be mad about it. And mad means that you have to measure, you have to analyze, and you have to make decisions based on your analysis. So we need to incentivize the education of farmers enough. That's one. Then technology would also come into play here, right? We'll see the advent of AI and big data playing a major role in how agriculture can be moved and be done better, right? So if farmers are producing on their farm, a lot of data would be churned out from there. You have gigabytes or petabytes of data. You need AI to be able to actually analyze all of this data and be able to make meaningful sense, insights, and be able to make better decisions as to how do we do this better next year? What do we need to do in terms of the soil nutrients, in terms of the seedling you are planting, in terms of the ecosystem in which you are playing, and all of the other factors that would affect the farmer and their farmlands.
And obviously, when you hear, technology, there is a cost implication, and most of them are not, affordable. What are companies like you doing to make it affordable for the smallholder farmers?
Clearly, a lot of additional financing needs to go into agriculture, right? Technology doesn't come always cheap. There are some part of it that may be cheap, right? If you're doing software, that may be a bit cheaper than doing hardware. So we need to see a lot more people coming into this stage and doing a lot more interesting stuff. What we have done as an organization is to set up what we call an innovation lab, where we have experts that are going to be putting their hands on the table and then learning, doing research, and trying to understudy what's going on within the space, building technologies that would be able to solve some of the inherent problems we've seen in the agricultural sector, and also taking learning from the different parts of the world that has been doing this better than us. So this is FX doing its own bit of the issue, right? So we need a lot more people to also stand up and come into this space and do a lot of funding, set up a lot more labs to do a lot more researches, and churn out a lot more interesting technological outputs to help the farmers and help us sustain food production in Africa.
Right, so much investments needed there. But before I let you go, do we have current platforms that promote tech in the agricultural space?
Absolutely. There are myriads of platforms where conversations are ongoing, right? As an organization, we set up what we call the Code Cash Crop, which is where it's an industry-led conversation where we bring agriculture, technology, and finance experts together to come and speak to what are the ways in which these 3 key sectors can come together and then attempt to solve and propose solutions to the problems that are in the space. There are also several other conversations happening around Africa. There is the Agra's AGRF, which happens almost every year. There is the African Tech Summit and several other summits and panels happening here and there. These are some of the conversations that are going on. There are also the back office conversations that different people have, right? So, but we need to keep all of this up to get better at what we do.
Right, and we'll keep following those conversations. Thank you so much, Yusuf Oguntola, Chief Technology Officer at AFEX. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.